It's that time of year again, guys. It is the seasonal weather time, the beautiful season in Phoenix, Arizona that goes from November to April. And with that, people come to visit for all kinds of activities that are going on right here in Phoenix, Arizona. So what are the top areas for Airbnb properties and to stay when you are coming down to the Phoenix area? Guys, we're gonna talk about that here and more in just a second. But first, if you don't mind, just go ahead and tap that subscribe button, hit the like button, and get us out to more and more people that hopefully will enjoy the information we're providing on our YouTube channel, guys. So let's get right after it here. What are the top 5 areas in the Phoenix area for the best Airbnb neighborhoods or areas, right? So as you know, we always go from bottom to top. So we're gonna go 5 to 1, because you know we love our top 5 and top 10 list, right? And we're gonna start with that, and we're gonna rock and roll all the way up to the number 1 area in the Phoenix area for Airbnbs. Okay guys, number 5 on the 5 best areas here for an Airbnb is the area called 85254, guys. It is affectionately known as the magic zip code. Why? Well, because you have a Scottsdale address, you have Phoenix taxes, and Paradise Valley School Unified District for your public education. So that's why it's called the magic zip code. For an Airbnb guest, that's not a big deal maybe for some of these things. For a potential landlord that's going to own an Airbnb, could be huge to know about these things. But guys, I love 85254. It is an entire zip code, the magic zip code, but I love it because it was developed primarily in the 1980s, and there are not very many, quote, neighborhoods, right? There are definitely some, like Norma Estates and so on and so forth, but a lot of informal neighborhoods that don't have walls with gates, and for the most part throughout 85254. There are also, because of that, hardly any HOAs. Now guys, that's one thing that you're gonna find is very common with all 5 of these amazing areas, is they don't have HOAs. And the reason why is because most of the areas that have HOAs in Phoenix have restrictions against STRs, short-term rental houses, right? That being said, it's easier to obviously, as a landlord owner that wants to do a short-term rental, to buy an area that just doesn't have an HOA. Now, the hack on this though, guys, is that there are many HOAs on neighborhoods that were actually developed in the 1990s that are newer, maybe gated, guard gated, whatever. And because back then, short-term rentals weren't a thing, Airbnb wasn't around, they don't have any restrictions in the CC&Rs for actually short-term rentals. So the hack on that is that you can actually do it. And people are gonna be like in uproar going, what in the world's going on here, if you are a bad host and you're throwing parties and that kind of stuff, right? The reality is that if you're being a good host and you're having the right people enter your property, neighbors probably won't care, and therefore you'll be just fine. But there is some risk with this, because if you buy a house with an HOA and that currently does not have a restriction in the CC&Rs, typically with a 2/3 or 3/4 majority vote of all homeowners in that neighborhood, they can amend and therefore potentially cause you some problems by having a short-term rental. So to avoid that, although that's very hard to do, to avoid all that, you just don't buy in a neighborhood with an HOA. Now back to 85254. I love this area, guys. It's central Scottsdale, central to North Scottsdale, but again, it is between the 101 loop and the 51 freeway, so you have a proximity to highways, and to get around to the rest of the valley is amazing, guys. Now, the one thing is you won't have any community amenities per se, with a pool and a spa that everyone go and actually use. That's not gonna be found necessarily in 85254. So you wanna make sure your amenities for the Airbnb are right with your house, whether you're a host or a guest. You wanna make sure you have things like that are kind of a must, like a hot tub. If you don't have an in-ground hot tub, you can have an above ground hot tub. A pool is typically a must, even if it's not heated. People still like to see the pool there, and you may have some guests in the summertime when they really need a pool. And things in the backyard to do. Bocce ball, horseshoes, putt-putt golf, mini golf, things of that nature are very attractive for people that are looking to actually be a guest in your house. But 85254 is awesome because you can do all of that with very little restrictions, and it is very close to one of the top shopping outdoor centers in all of America, the Kierland Commons area and the Scottsdale Corridor areas, with some amazing dining and really good outdoor dining, which you can go to year round because weather in Phoenix is awesome. Yes, it is. Okay, so that makes number 5 on our list. Okay, number 4 on the list, guys, we're gonna go over to Central Phoenix in what is known as the Central Corridor Uptown area. Now, downtown Phoenix is a hub for many, many different things. A big work district, a lot of jobs, companies, big tall skyscrapers, and of course, professional sports teams as well. You also have some urban living down there. Now in Uptown, you are obviously very close to downtown, just on the north side of it, across the north side of the I-10 freeway. And in the Uptown area, you have some really cool restaurants and some urban vertical living that is pretty darn cool. Maybe not the best though for Airbnbs because, again, HOAs. But as you get just north of the Uptown area, you have what is known as the Central Corridor area, where you have a lot of properties that were even built in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, or even 70s, right? But a lot of them don't have HOAs. Now, many of these properties have larger lots, which is awesome because as a owner, you can put all kinds of fun stuff in your backyard for potential future guests to do when they come and stay at your house. And the architecture, guys, it is amazing. The tree-lined streets, the vegetation and landscaping is just amazing, guys, because some of these trees down there, these big, huge trees, aren't necessarily the newer desert trees that a lot of people put in because now it obviously is water conservation, and now they are, kind of immune to maybe not having as much water because they're desert trees and they just grow like crazy anyways, but they still provide shade. But these trees down in the Central Corridor area are more like Midwest trees, right? Big, sprawling oak trees and things of that nature that obviously take hundreds and hundreds of years to grow. And they're just beautiful, guys, just beautiful. Large lots, spread out, privacy, and you are just minutes from the Uptown area as well as the downtown Phoenix area where you can go see sporting events. You're close to Sky Harbor Airport, which is just on the east side of downtown Phoenix, and things of that nature, guys. So that's why the Central Corridor comes in at number 4. Okay, guys, on the list, number 3 is the Cactus Corridor. An amazing place to live, work, or play. Now, if you're gonna come down and visit, it's phenomenal because the proximity, again, is just outstanding. You are in, literally, geographically, central Scottsdale. So you are almost equidistant to everything in the Old Town, South Scottsdale area, as well as all the fun stuff in Central Scottsdale, close to Kierland and Scottsdale Quarter. And then as you go north, you are just minutes away from a drive up north into North Scottsdale where you have some things to do up there as well. McDonald's Ranch and things of that nature that are more discreet, more in touch, in tune with the natural Sonoran Desert. Hiking, biking, mountain biking, things of that nature. But it is a great place to be because you're equidistant to all of that stuff. And of course, just about 20 minutes to the airport, not bad at all, down to 101 and over the 202 down to the airport. And guys, it is just awesome. Now, the Cactus Corridor is comprised primarily of homes on large lots. Now, most of the homes were developed in the 1970s. And of course, there's some 80s and some late 60s, but you're talking big lots, old horse property. In fact, some of the homes in there still have horse privileges. So I don't know, you can probably grab an Airbnb with maybe some horses even in the backyard. I don't know, I'm sure that exists. I can't say for sure, but if that's something you wanna do, definitely possible. But if you don't get a house, if you wanna do some horseback riding, there are some horseback stables and some farms that have horses that you could do horseback riding rides and lessons, that kind of stuff while you're in town visiting if you want, in a nearby area, because that whole central area is just great. And there are some horse farms still to this day that are fully functioning in the Cactus Corridor. But I digress because that's just one thing with horseback riding. Central Corridor, guys, is awesome because now a lot of homes as well, because they're on 3/4 acre lots or larger, have been knocked down that were built in the 70s. And you have these big sprawling modern mansions that have been built on these big lots because the land is so valuable. You'll find homes that are Airbnbs or VRBOs in this area, and they have just huge backyards with tennis courts, basketball courts, putting greens, miniature football fields even, and batting cages and all the like, croquet sets. I mean, it's pretty amazing what you'll find in the Cactus Corridor as a VRBO Airbnb. So I would highly recommend considering that area if you're looking to come stay in an Airbnb. And that's why it makes number 3 on our list. All right, number 2 on the list, and this is tough between number 2 and number 1. Number 2 is Old Town Scottsdale. Guys, most people have heard about Old Town Scottsdale because it is so stinking popular across the rest of the country. People love to come down to Old Town for many different reasons. Can I say entertainment, entertainment, entertainment? Did I mention entertainment? That's right, guys. Old Town Scottsdale is your mecca for entertainment if you're coming down for just that, for an Airbnb stay, or if you want to buy a property in that area, it is hard to beat. Most of the areas that have housing around Old Town have no HOA unless you're doing, multifamily, but for single family houses, most of them have no HOA, and so they make just phenomenal Airbnbs because people can rent them and walk to their destination of choice for entertainment, for fine dining, for world-class shopping. Guys, the Scottsdale Fashion Square is right there. It is just outstanding. The new Caesars Republic Hotel is going in. That'll be ready in early 2024 with a rooftop view of Camelback Mountain with a pool and entertainment. The W Hotel. And guys, the list goes on and on for Old Town Scottsdale. The only reason it maybe didn't make number one is simply because the type of housing immediate to Old Town Scottsdale is all relatively smaller. You don't have a huge variety when it comes to single-family houses of these big, huge homes on big, huge lots. Now, there are some 2 stories that are much bigger with the square footage and that sort of thing. But guys, it is just an outstanding place with all kinds of different housing from vertical living all the way down to single-family houses. But again, most of the vertical living does not allow Airbnb because of the HOAs that rule and the CCNRs that rule over those different condo complexes and townhouse complexes. Scottsdale is known as the westernmost city in the US, and because of that, there's a lot of heritage and history and stores that have architecture that represent an Old West feeling when you walk down through the Old Town shops, where it has Gilbert Ortega and some of these famous jewelry shops where Native Americans have painted and have these different types of jewelry and regular jewelry and all kinds of fun stuff that are mom and pop boutique shops down in the Old Town area. As you walk through, you see a cowboy with a lasso, they get ready to lasso something, right? And just, it's just really cowboy western feeling in that little pocket of Old Town Scottsdale, surrounded by all these modern now nightclubs and restaurants and hotels and resorts down there too. So it's a really cool, yin and yang feeling down in Old Town Scottsdale if you go down there to visit. Okay guys, number 1 on our list for the best Airbnb area for the Phoenix metropolitan area is Arcadia. That's right, most of you guys have probably heard of Arcadia. Now there are different parts that comprise of Arcadia. There's Arcadia proper, there's Arcadia Light, and there is Lower Arcadia. It's all in the area that is just south of Camelback Mountain, just to the west of Old Town Scottsdale. It is a phenomenal area, and you do have a lot of variety of housing in this area. Now, if you're gonna be in Arcadia proper, that is proper. That is the creme de la creme, right? That is where the largest homes with the best views of Camelback Mountain, etc., are located with the biggest lots typically. No HOA. There are some really nice homes, very pricey, that you can obviously rent out as an Airbnb, or if you're a landlord looking for a high return on your investment, I would consider Arcadia and purchasing one of those big homes down there because the math typically pencils really well, okay? You can also do a smaller home with no HOA in Arcadia Light or Lower Arcadia, and those will also Airbnb typically really well because, again, what makes Arcadia so special, again, is its proximity and location. It is sandwiched right to the east of Sky Harbor Airport. It is sandwiched to the south of Paradise Valley and to the west of Old Town Scottsdale. Amazing location. And the walkability score in Arcadia, second to none, guys. You can walk to all kinds of mom and pop coffee shops and restaurants and shops, and it just has a real nice, small Midwest neighborhood feel to it. And that's why Arcadia overall makes number 1 on our list. Okay guys, I want to give you a bonus tip. A bonus tip is that the City of Scottsdale City Council just voted some restrictions on short-term rentals moving forward starting January of 2023. Now, why is this important? It's important because 4 of the top 5 areas that I just mentioned are either fully or partially located in Scottsdale, Arizona. So let's go over those restrictions they just voted on because, as you know, it's kind of a hot topic across the country right now with Airbnbs and VRBOs. Because there are 5 things you have to do to be a landlord in the City of Scottsdale starting in January of 2023. Number 1, you have to have a TPT license. Now that is just simply a license to be able to run a business in the state of Arizona, and they do consider, obviously, short-term rentals a business. That costs $250 and it's paid annually. Number 2, you have to apply for a license with the City of Scottsdale. Number 3, you have to notify your neighbors. That's kind of weird. There's no really specific way to do it, but catty corner, across, and to the side, you have to notify your neighbors that you are a landlord of a short-term rental. And you have to carry liability insurance of up to $500,000 on your STR for being a landlord. Number 4, you have to register your property with the County of Maricopa for purposes of notifying them that you are not just a rental house, but also the fact that you have to pay rental tax on your property and the income you received, because the county and the city will be collecting that. And number 5, you have to maintain your contact information with the City of Scottsdale so that they can get a hold of you at any given time, as there is a short-term rental task force that they have formed to be available in case a neighbor is having a problem with a party or whatever nearby. And guys, last but not least, they are restricting the use of the property to only 6 adults and their dependents and children for a use when renting or staying at a Airbnb. I'm not sure they're going to enforce that one because, guys, there's some large, really big VRBOs and STRs in North Scottsdale and Scottsdale area, and so they rely heavily on the ability to put a lot of people in there to split up those fees because they are pretty expensive to rent a luxury large home. So I'm not sure it's going to work out, guys, but we'll see how that's going. That's what the City Council of Scottsdale passed in November, effective January of 2023. So guys, let's recap. Our top 5 areas from bottom to top are number 5, 85254, the magic zip code. Number 4, the Central Corridor of Phoenix, just north of the Uptown area. Number 3, the Cactus Corridor in Central Scottsdale. Number 2, Old Town Scottsdale in downtown South Scottsdale. And number 1, Arcadia and its surrounding Arcadia areas. So guys, thank you very much for watching this video. If you have any questions about STRs or just investing in real estate or real estate in general, please give me a call. I'd love to chat with you at 480-660-5974 or at info@cookandassociatesaz.com. Check us out here at our Instagram page at Kelly Cook Homes, where we're putting out daily content on what we're doing behind the scenes. Check it out, guys. Thank you very much, and don't forget to call